going live to read a Reddit post with you, and I will reply to any questions if there are any, or I will read the replies as well. Before I begin, let me give a shout out to me for making this shirt. Okay, well, not really making it, but uh, mind your business. That's all. I didn't really make it, but I just put the rest of the words over it. Tupac cares if don't nobody else care, because we love Pac, right? All right, so let's get into this Reddit post. I'll just wait for the rest of the people to get in here. I crack me up. No, but for real. To my tens of friends at some point, whether live or playback, I hope you join in. To everyone else, you are welcome. You all are welcome. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more. But this Reddit post is in the Am I the A-hole subreddit? And it is titled AITAH for telling the passenger in front of my toddler there wasn't much I could do about her kicking his seat. And again, I read these live. I'll read the title and be like, okay. And I read it live. So it's live reactions, real advice on the spot. So yeah, let's get into it. I, 41 male, was flying with my wife, 36 female, and our two daughters, 21 months and 7 months. You're a little bit too old for that. You couldn't. Okay, let's read. From Newark to Fort Myers, a 2.5 hour flight. Because United messed up our reservation, check-in was a nightmare, and we got delayed and barely made it to the gate in time to pre-board. So you probably was in a mood. To make matters worse, United split our seats up. I ended up in a row 14 with our 20-month-old in her FAA approved car seat, while my wife was in row 28 with our 7-month-old as an infant, as a lap infant. Okay. During boarding, I had temporarily set my 7-month-old in the seat in front of me while I was installing my toddler's car seat. My wife was wrestling with the toddler at the time because she was unhappy about getting on the plane. The passengers, hi, Matthew, Martin, and Critter Kingdom. Um, so I'm just reading a Reddit post, and you all can give your replies. Oh, hi, Peach and Darius. Hello, everyone. But the title of this Reddit post is Am I the A-hole for am I the a-hole for telling the passenger in front of my toddler there wasn't much I could do about her kicking his seat? And I am on like the fourth paragraph at this point, but thank you all so much for tuning in. But I'm gonna continue on because these Reddits can get pretty long. But after I got the car seat installed, rear facing, it was touching the back of his seat because of the limited leg room. Before takeoff, he turned around and asked if I was going to fix that because she wanted to recline. I told him I'd do what I could. He kept pushing the issue, and I told him to talk to a flight attendant because she needed to be in a car seat. I ended up turning the car seat forward facing, even though that wasn't my preferred setup. Appreciate it, but it gave him enough room to recline. After takeoff, once we were above 10,000 feet, he reclined. As soon as he did, my toddler was able to reach the back of his seat and her feet, and she started kicking. Okay. I tried to stop her, but telling her not to do something can turn into a game. She stopped for a moment, then started again, and she would try to avoid my hands to get to the back of the seat. I was also not willing to yell at her and make her cry. Okay. and make her cry about it. He turned around and told me to make her stop kicking his seat. I told him, I told him Sorry, I lost my place. She's not even two, man. I'm trying. I had her facing the other way, but you had a problem with that too. He flipped me off, called me an a-hole, and then set the rest of the flight without reclining. The rest of the flight was uneventful. I feel like I had already made a concession by turning the car seat forward and facing. If I'd left in the rear facing, he wouldn't have been able to recline at all. At this, okay, so he had to sacrifice his comfort on the plane, and he should be grateful that she helped him be able to recline, even though her child was kicking the seat. Okay. Um, if I feel like I had already made a concession by turning the seat forward. At the same time, I understand that having your seat kicked is annoying. Don't know if I should have handled it differently. AITA. I'm gonna say yes. Why? Because Darius Hawkins, not sure I know you, even with the full name. But no, now I do get a lot of people who tell me I look like somebody that they know. But anyway, Liz Mitchell, hi there. What is the Whitney Houston reference? Okay. But anyhow, there are edits to everyone saying hold her feet. I guess I wasn't clear, but that was literally what I was doing. She thought it was a game and was trying to avoid my hands to get to a seat. Edit two. When I said I was not willing to yell at her and make her cry, it was because everyone else would be bothered. Okay, I could dig that. To everyone that is saying, why didn't you distract her with toys? My entire carry-on bag was books for her. She is a toddler and sometimes will play with something for 30 minutes and some that's really good. And sometimes she wants nothing to do with it. Understandable. I literally watch Baby Shark 50 times with her to keep her entertained. Okay, and you guys can comment if you think she is the a-hole or not. And yes, I am having a nice day, Lisa Mayer. How are you? Um, Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me, tuning in. I greatly appreciate it. Um, Hoagie, Hogiam says, you the a-hole. Hold her feet, even if it's the whole flight. Just tired, I guess, says, this is the guy who says kids will be kids while his kid is being annoying instead of being a parent and parenting, and I can totally agree with that. Um, OP, you are huge. You the a-hole. And then there was a bunch of comments that must have been not good because they got downvoted a lot. Big Preference 9684 says, it's almost like you had a chance to parent and actively chose not to because it was hard. You the a-hole. I agree. I was also not willing to yell at her and make her cry about it. Info, why not, is what they want to know. And yeah, what? Babies cry. But it's so rude and impolite for your child to continuously kick someone else's feet. Hello, Crystal Bowerfields. Um, I will not be on here very long because my baby wants to take a walk, so we are going to go in about 15 minutes. But I definitely wanted to do a live and say hello to everyone. This light making me hot. Sorry. I was also not willing to yell at her and make her cry. Why not? Is what Snoop Peripherals wants to know. Professional Ruin 953 says, one does question why the parenting skills go from disregarding permissiveness to yelling to make her cry with no in between. There was no in between. If you have a child that's kicking the back of someone's seat, I think it would be nice to ask your child to stop. Me personally, I would do what everybody else is suggesting, which is give that child something else to do besides kicking the person's seat in front of her. A lot of times with my very own children, we have to talk about boundaries, being polite, and treating someone like you want to be treated. So if you are, and we probably would have discussed plane etiquette before getting on the plane. Thank you, Crystal Bauer Fields. So yeah, we would definitely discuss proper plane etiquette getting on the plane. And sometimes I am known to fabricate a little bit with my children, and I would probably tell them if you do that, if we're making everyone else uncomfortable, they probably won't let us on the plane anymore. Say what you need to say sometimes to your children. But the fact of the matter is, how do I stop you from kicking the back of the seat and also allowing everybody else to, well, I need my child to be comfortable. I get that, but respect is kind of everything. Let's read some more replies. A whole enthusiast says, I can't tell her no, in quotation marks. Like, what do you mean I can't tell her no? I can't tell her stop. That's not a thing. If you have watched my channel, though, I do sort of get it. I do not like saying no. I do not like saying stop. But I will say, kicking someone else's seat is rude, but maybe we can do X, Y, and Z. So I get the not wanting to say no, but allowing the misbehavior to continue, not okay. Ring bearer 31 says, yelling at toddler is only good for a short interrupt on their current mode, not making them calm, OP. Actually, talking to them like an adult is far more likely to calm them down and distract them. No, for real. Just tired, I guess, said he didn't either, though. He didn't do anything. This is the real issue. Facts. We have to parent as parents. There's no way around it. Big Preferences says, I guess I forgot actually parenting requires screaming and crying as a default. It don't. Radiant Muser says, is it just me that I understand why he wouldn't be not willing to yell at her and make her cry on an airplane, because crying would annoy many more people than the seat kicking annoying the one person. So that makes it right, I guess. No one should be annoyed. You paid your money to be comfortable on a seat, and you should be able to be comfortable. Plus, who knows how long crying will last? That said, it seems like he should have been less rude to the other guy overall. And the Hellzabot says, because yelling doesn't get the job done, it escalates it. And I don't think anyone suggested that that parent yelled at their child. It was just like saying you can't do anything because you don't want them to cry. That's not parenting. Had anyone here parented? Yes, I have. Sounds like not. Kids aren't dogs. They're tiny people with opinions. And although kids are not dogs, we do raise our children to be respectful, I hope. So saying kids aren't dogs, I understand they definitely have their own mind, and to think that you're going to make a kid do anything, I'm here to tell you, you can't make a kid do anything. But for me, it was like getting my children to understand the whole situation, everything that's going on, so that they can make the decision themselves to be like, maybe I shouldn't kick other people's seat while I'm on the plane, But yet, no, I agree. Yelling definitely does not work. I do not suggest that anyone yells at their children. Red Wings 1927 says, I also don't recline my seat when there's a effing car seat in the row behind. This is the clearest everyone sucks live I've seen in a while. And I'm just going to stay on for 10 more minutes. Bear 4408 says, a whole unhappy plane is worse than one unhappy passenger. And I can't vibe with that. Because if you can help it, I don't think anyone should be unhappy, but I don't think anyone should be unhappy. That's not a good answer. And Z underscore Azita says, YTA, you made her. Now be a parent. It's you for real. You just have to parent. Um, T. Seal Gear says, I read this story years ago, but I didn't personally witness it. Kids running rampant in a restaurant. Mom apologizes to the table next to them with the, oh, kids will be kids BS. Lady next to them replies something to the effect of, no problem. It's always sad to see kids with no parents. Mom says, we're the parents. Lady replies, you may be their mom and dad, but you certainly are not their parents. I thought this is funnier than H. Mom finally got them under control after that comment. No, for real. That's a funny one. Sad to see kids without parents these days. Crystal Barfield. It seems like it's you and one more friend, but to be quite honest, this is my second or third actual live. So, getting my name out in the YouTube streets. At some point, my tens of friends grows. Chapter 1-2 says, YTA, telling a child to stop doing something and allowing it to turn into a game isn't parenting. No Song says, that's what I was wondering too. The real failure happened long before this flight when no was allowed to mean game time. Facts. Dangerous Window says YTA for you're the a-hole. Muggle Girl says YTA, being constantly kicked in the back for a 2.5 hour flight is awful. Your kid shouldn't be his problem. Teach your kid to keep their arms and legs to themselves or bulk head next time. What? Basically, keep your feet and hands to yourself, and that's facts. It's a lot of YTAs on here because, yes, control your child. I know it's difficult, but we have to parent as parents. G Webb says, would you have thought he was the a-hole if he left her seat rear facing? That was the correct solution here. A toddler sitting rear face sounds extremely uncomfortable. So, okay, homework says YTA. If you can't and refuse to handle one kid, having a second was really unsmart. That wasn't nice. Thin Travel says, YTA, why is your child's comfort more important than anyone else's? You are going to have to learn to discipline your child. It starts now. Say no. No, for real. And I totally agree with that. People have got to learn how to say no to their children. Stephahees says, yeah, YTA. It seems like we're all agreeing. Definitely the a-hole. YTA. Yeah, YTA, parent your child, hold their feet, stop her, do whatever, but you truly failed. And Chicknet says YTA. A 20-month-old understands what no means, and it's your job to reinforce it. You're the boss, not your toddler. Facts. And the droid says YTA. Worst case, you hold their feet to stop them from kicking. Britt says YTA. And I will be here for another 5 minutes, and then I am going to wrap this live up. Millie30 says, you are the nightmare parents everyone dreads if you can't control your children, drive, or walk. And I say that as someone who raised two rowdy, I hope she was trying to say boys. If you have to hold them the entire flight to keep them from being obnoxious, that's what good parents do. YTA, big time. No, for real. If you gotta hold your kid down, then you gotta hold your kid down. Because why do I have to endure my seat being kicked the entire flight? Muggle Mama says, YTA, it was a stressful flight, sure, but you were forced to parent one of one and then actively chose not to. Facts. Definitely TA. Try on girl says. We ID Jit says, so his choice was don't recline or get a seat kicked. YTA, your child, your parent. You're the parent. Let's see. Louis G4831 says, YTA, you didn't even try. Do better. Not for real. Come on now. More YTAs. I don't see anyone disagreeing. Give me an example again, says, very good point. Don't say what you want, not what you don't want. Say what you want, not what you don't want. Distracting is another useful skill. No, for real. For real. You gotta like, oh, look out there, my child. You see the clouds? What do you think the clouds feel like? Do you think it's raining? I mean, just for real, distractions with kids is actually a really good way to get them to stop kicking the seat and singing a song or yeah, no, I'm a fan of Lavender Night Night, which I fall out on the plane. I cannot stay awoke on the plane, so I don't know how kids do it, especially for 2.5 hours. Fluffy Fox says, YTA, for God's sake, you're the parent. Act like it. You tell your toddler to knock it off. You tell them it's not a game. You give her a book or a toy or anything else to entertain her. You don't have to yell at your kid or make them cry, but you absolutely should have been very firm with her with your no and stop. I agree. People like you are the reason people don't like toddlers on airplanes. Good grief. Because you refuse to act like a effing parent and instead you allow your kid to bother others. I've worked with 2-year-olds. I didn't have to be mean, facts. All I had to do was be firm with boundaries, and they were 100% capable of learning and listening. Very good. You've clearly never taught your kid how to listen or given boundaries, which is why your toddler's exhibiting this kind of behavior. She said what she said. 2 more minutes and I'm out of here. Swirly Flurry says, telling her not to do something can turn it into a game. I'm sorry, but that really sounds like a parenting issue. YTA, learn to be firm with your kid so she knows when something isn't a game. I like the way they said that. And I'll just read a few more posts and I'm going to get out of here. Go for a nice walk. Enjoy this weather while it's not too hot or too cold. Normative Truth says, I can't be arsed to be a parent. Yes, UTA. That at 2403 says YTA, yelling isn't the only way to parent. To be honest, you sound like a lazy dad whose wife usually does most of the parenting. And that's how they feel about that, because who's playing with this person getting their seat kit? And that will wrap up. Nope, I'm gonna read one more. Metuk says, YTA, you are a giant a-hole. Millions of parents, me included, have flown with their babies and toddlers on flights as long as 16 hours. Babies cry and kick and misbehave. It is the responsibility of the parent to do everything possible to not impose the fruit of their loins on other people. I say this as a mother who had early onset arthritis and an autistic son with ADHD. I took him on a 12-hour flight and did everything in my power to not create an unpleasant environment for those around us. This includes concessions I would normally not do, unrestricted screen time, snacks, holding him to sleep on me in a position that was uncomfortable for me, but which kept him comfortable, etc. You made children. Parent them in such a way as to not annoy others. And that will conclude today's live. I will see you all tomorrow. Catch you in the next one. Bye, 10. Finger heart, that's what that was.